The movie begins with Mike Howell, a laid-back small-town guy living in Lyman, West Virginia, where his biggest concern is usually finding time to draw his homemade comic, The Adventures of Apollo Ape and Chip the Brick. Mike works as a store clerk, spends his free time with his girlfriend Phoebe, and seems completely ordinary. But there is one strange problem he has never been able to overcome. He physically cannot leave Lyman. Every attempt sends him into severe panic attacks. Even when he and Phoebe once tried taking a vacation to Hawaii, Mike feels guilty because he believes he is holding Phoebe back, especially since he secretly wants to propose to her. And if you're enjoying this kind of epic movie recap, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us grow together and bring you more insane fantasy and action stories like this. Now, back to Mike, because his boring little life is about to explode. Mike has absolutely no idea that his fear of leaving town is connected to a secret buried inside his own mind. Years earlier, he was recruited into a CIA program called Wiseman and transformed into an experimental sleeper assassin. His memories were erased, his identity was rebuilt, and his extraordinary combat abilities were hidden behind layers of psychological programming. Meanwhile, inside the CIA, Senior Agent Lassiter receives a disturbing call informing her that a classified program known as Tough Guy has been reactivated. Their new objective is Mike Howell. Lassiter immediately realizes what this means because Mike is one of her former assets, and she knows exactly how dangerous the situation could become. She confronts her rival Yates, the man controlling Tough Guy, but he insists Mike must be eliminated because the agency considers him a security breach. Lassiter refuses to simply watch her former asset get hunted. That same night, Mike sits beneath the stars with Phoebe and excitedly tells her about his latest comic chapter, completely unaware that assassins are already closing in around him. He worries that he is like a tree blocking a car from moving forward, but Phoebe reassures him that he isn't holding her back. The next morning, Mike secretly meets Rose, his dealer, but the meeting isn't actually about drugs. Mike is buying fireworks because he plans to use them when he finally proposes to Phoebe. Then he returns to work, expecting another painfully ordinary day. Instead, Lassiter walks into the store and begins repeating a bizarre sequence of words. Mike thinks she is simply acting crazy, but she is actually attempting to reactivate the hidden assassin buried inside his mind. She leaves believing the attempt failed, never realizing that the programming has already started coming back online. Only minutes later, Mike notices two suspicious men near his car. He has no idea they are CIA assassins sent to kill him. Suddenly they attack, and Mike's entire personality seems to change in an instant. His body moves before his mind can even understand what is happening. He effortlessly defeats both men with astonishing speed and precision, leaving himself completely stunned by what he has just done. In the middle of the chaos, Mike calls Phoebe and desperately tries to explain that he has just killed someone with a spoon. Phoebe can barely believe him, but Mike himself is even more confused. Before they can figure anything out, the sheriff arrives and arrests Mike, but the situation is far from over. Yates learns that his assassins were taken down by the very man they were supposed to eliminate, and he immediately suspects Lassiter has successfully awakened Mike. Yates orders the entire town locked down while his people search for Lassiter. Mike is taken to the police station, where he struggles to explain what happened. Phoebe is more concerned about the strange woman who spoke to Mike earlier, especially because Mike can somehow remember every word Lassiter said. Before they can make sense of it, the electricity suddenly cuts out, and the station falls into chaos. Two more assassins, Crane and Logger, launch their attack. Crane tears through the police station while Logger enters the holding area to kill Mike. But once again, Mike's buried training takes control. He fights Logger with brutal efficiency, knocks his teeth out, and traps him inside the cell. Crane continues firing through the station, but Mike and Phoebe manage to escape. Even after taking a grenade attack and surviving the destruction of the station, Mike hunts Crane down and kills her with his bare hands. Meanwhile, Lassiter is trapped outside town by a heavily guarded roadblock and realizes Yates is willing to destroy everything just to eliminate Mike. She calls her old contact Petey and begs him for help, knowing that the agents Yates is using are far more dangerous than ordinary operatives. Mike and Phoebe make their way to Rose's house, but Mike's mind is becoming increasingly unstable as fragments of his forgotten life begin resurfacing. Suddenly, he remembers things he should never know, including detailed knowledge of firearms, military combat, and even dozens of different types of tanks. He has no idea where these memories came from. At Rose's house, the situation becomes even stranger together when the television reports a fake viral outbreak and blames both Mike and Lassiter for causing it. Rose becomes suspicious, while Mike, completely overwhelmed by everything happening to him, starts wondering if he might actually be some kind of robot. Rose pulls a gun on Mike, but Mike instantly disarms him and calmly hands the weapon back, proving that he has no intention of hurting anyone. Even so, Rose locks Mike and Phoebe in the basement while he decides what to do. At the same time, Lassiter receives a secret file revealing the truth behind Yates's tough guy program. The assassins hunting Mike aren't ordinary agents. They are violent criminals taken from mental institutions and transformed into killing machines through CIA conditioning and brainwashing. Yates prepares to send them after Mike in waves, beginning with 3 of his most dangerous operatives. He also authorizes a special gas designed to make people physically incapable of harming themselves or anyone else. As the gas begins spreading through Rose's house, Phoebe climbs into the ceiling while Mike considers finally proposing to her. Then everything goes horribly wrong. The gas overwhelms Rose, Big Harold, and Quentin, leaving them helpless, while an assassin enters the basement to finish Mike. But Mike's instincts activate once again, and he takes the attacker down before escaping with Phoebe. Outside, another assassin waits for them, but Phoebe grabs a gun and shoots him. Mike, however, is badly affected by the gas and collapses. Instead of simply knocking him out, the gas somehow unlocks even more of his buried memories. When Mike wakes, he immediately realizes Phoebe knows far more than she has admitted. He demands the truth, and Phoebe finally confesses that she isn't just his girlfriend. She was assigned by the CIA 5 years earlier to monitor him and keep him settled in Lyman. She insists that her feelings for him are real, but Mike can no longer tell which parts of their relationship were genuine and which parts were part of the mission. Mike runs away from Phoebe, desperate to get away from everyone and everything connected to the CIA. But before he can escape, their car is rammed from behind and crashes off a bridge. Logger arrives to finish the operation, pulling Phoebe from the wreckage because he has orders to bring her back alive. Mike remains trapped inside while Logger covers the vehicle in gas and sets it on fire. At the last possible moment, Lassiter arrives and rescues Mike before the car explodes. Phoebe, meanwhile, is taken directly to Yates, who mocks her for abandoning her agency assignment and choosing to remain with Mike. Yates believes he has finally won. He has control of the operation, a collection of lethal assassins at his command, and he expects Mike to be dead. But Lassiter knows the truth, and she takes Mike somewhere safe so he can finally learn who he really is. Lassiter explains that Mike's transformation began when he was 18 and arrested for drugs. At the time, Lassiter was recruiting candidates for the secret Wiseman program, and Mike voluntarily agreed to become an experimental subject. Out of every person involved, Mike was the only successful candidate. His enhanced abilities were extraordinary, but the programming slowly began driving him insane. Lassiter eventually shut the program down and gave the surviving candidates new identities and ordinary lives. Mike received a new life in Lyman, but his fear and panic attacks were never random. They were programmed into him as a safety mechanism designed to keep him from leaving the environment where he could remain stable. The CIA had essentially transformed him into a weapon, erased his memories, and then buried that weapon inside the life of an ordinary man.
Mike is furious when he realizes just how much of his life was manipulated. But there is still one question he cannot ignore: Phoebe. Lassiter tells him that Phoebe really did care about him. When she was originally ordered to settle Mike into Lyman and eventually return to the agency, she chose to stay. She abandoned her old life and career because she genuinely loved him. Before Mike can process that revelation, an assassin attacks them. Mike throws the attacker through a window, but Yates' forces immediately surround the house. Otis opens fire while Yates orders a drone strike, even knowing Mike and his own men are still inside. Mike is pinned down by relentless gunfire, but his instincts return in a spectacular way. He grabs a frying pan, uses it to ricochet a bullet, and takes Otis out with a shot that seems impossible. The drone misses its strike window because PD hesitates to activate it, and the situation inside the CIA begins collapsing. PD finally contacts Yates' superior, Agent Kruger, and confesses what has been happening. Kruger immediately heads toward Lyman while Yates suddenly discovers that his entire operation is being dismantled. His personnel are being evacuated and his authority is slipping away. Desperate, Yates makes one final move. He calls Mike directly. Mike wants to surrender because he is exhausted by the constant violence, but Yates reveals that Phoebe is alive and in his custody. He allows Phoebe to speak, and she tells Mike that she has been the tree he thought he was, that she has been holding him back. Yet despite every lie and secret between them, she tells him that she truly loves him. Hearing this, Mike finally makes his decision. He is going back for Phoebe. If you were in Mike's position after discovering that almost your entire life had been manipulated, but the person who betrayed you was also the person who genuinely loved you, what would you do? Tell me in the comments, because Mike makes his choice without hesitation. Yates activates all 17 of his remaining tough guy assassins, expecting Mike to sneak into their position. Instead, Mike gives them the loudest entrance imaginable. He gets his hands on the fireworks he originally purchased for his proposal, and uses them to create absolute chaos as he attacks. Yates grabs Phoebe and retreats with his remaining men into a convenience store, but Mike doesn't slow down. He drives directly into the building, grabs the intercom, and calmly tells Phoebe that he loves her and is coming to get her. The entire store erupts into a deadly battlefield as 17 trained killers surround Mike. They expect an easy target, but Mike has become something completely different. He keeps moving through the store, turning ordinary objects into weapons and using his environment with terrifying precision. He is stabbed during the fight, yet continues forward as though the injury barely matters. A bullet grazes his head, unleashing even more of the assassin buried inside him. One by one, the tough guy operatives fall as Mike tears through them with a combination of instinct. Phoebe desperately tells Yates to stop and let Mike go, but Yates is too consumed by his own obsession to listen. Mike keeps advancing until only Lodger remains between him and Phoebe. Yates drags Phoebe toward the back of the store and orders Lodger to kill Mike. Phoebe fights back, but Yates knocks her down. However, she has secretly managed to free herself from her restraints and immediately turns on him, buying Mike precious time. Lodger finally confronts Mike and tells him they have more in common than Mike realizes. The two attack each other with everything they have, disarming and severely injuring one another in the process. Mike eventually gains the advantage and prepares to finish Lodger, but then something changes. Lodger admits that he never wanted to become the monster he is. The CIA put commands inside his head and took away his ability to control what he does. Mike recognizes himself in Lodger and realizes that the man standing in front of him is another victim of the same system that created him. Mike lowers his weapon and spares Lodger's life. At the same time, Lassiter has Yates trapped and is choking him when Kruger finally arrives. Kruger treats Lassiter and Yates like two reckless agents who have completely lost control of an operation. Phoebe finally reaches Mike and finds him battered, bleeding, and barely standing, but alive. After everything they have survived, the two decide they will go home together. As they step outside the store, however, they are immediately surrounded by police and SWAT officers with weapons pointed directly at them. Mike looks at the chaos surrounding him and realizes that, despite everything, there is still one thing he hasn't done. With guns aimed at him from every direction, Mike turns toward Phoebe and finally asks her to marry him. It is the proposal he had been planning before his entire life collapsed into violence. Before they can even seal the moment with a kiss, the authorities take them down. Elsewhere, Kruger takes Lassiter and Yates into the forest and forces them to kneel. The consequences of the operation are finally being decided. Yates believes his actions should be praised because he was trying to eliminate a dangerous CIA liability, but Kruger makes it clear that the operation was never authorized. Yates argues that if his plan had succeeded, the agency would have thanked him for eliminating Mike, but Kruger isn't interested in excuses. He shoots Yates twice in the chest, ending the man who unleashed the entire operation. Lassiter believes she is next, but Kruger reveals a shocking detail. He was actually her secret source. He was the one who warned her about what was coming, and he expected her to handle the situation carefully. Instead, she activated one of the CIA's most dangerous assets and turned the entire operation upside down. Kruger warns her that she had better turn the disaster into a victory, because otherwise she could suffer the same fate as Yates. Lassiter, however, believes the outcome already speaks for itself. One of her Wiseman assets has just eliminated all 17 of Yates' remaining tough guy operatives, making Mike the most successful ultra-program candidate the CIA has seen in decades. The movie ends with Mike locked inside a CIA holding cell while an agent arrives to debrief him. But this time, the agent doesn't call him by the name of the confused small-town man who once believed he couldn't leave Lyman. He calls him Agent Howell. And just like that, the story comes to an end with Mike finally knowing exactly who he is. If you enjoyed this wild journey from a small-town slacker to an unstoppable CIA weapon, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you're the first to never miss our next movie recap, and drop your favorite moment from Mike's insane transformation in the comments. Then stick around and watch another movie recap, because there are plenty more unbelievable stories waiting for you.